We'll take it from the AFC Championship game because I had a lot to say about the NFC Championship game. But to start with that, I mean, we all really thought that the Chiefs were going to win the game. I'm pretty sure you had that in your predictions, Evan. I know I did. We didn't have it as a
I'm not
live
sure if we
recording.
predicted it.
We didn't have it as recording, but I'm saying as
Okay.
myself or as a view from home, we all
Oh,
really
yeah.
were going
Yeah.
to win that game.
Yeah.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes did his thing, 325 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. The Bills just looked like they couldn't keep up. It's impossible to keep up with Tyreek Hill. What was that?
Good. Nice connection, kid.
It's all good. I'm just saying it's impossible to keep up with Tyreek Hill. Patrick Mahomes slinging the ball
Absolutely.
field.
Absolutely.
The offense is just unstoppable. What do you think about that, Chris?
That's what.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the first drive of the game, they drove right down the field, the Bills, and I kind of thought, it's going to be a game, and Tyler Bass kicked that 51-yarder. And so basically what kind of surprised me about the Bills is that they scored the 24 points. So the underlying theme to that is they really only had one offensive touchdown. Now, I know they had the muffed punt and they scored on that. I get it. But that's not really like an offensive drive touchdown. So I think they struggled to finish on drives. I think they did a good job moving the ball. But, 4 or 5 field goals against the Chiefs does you nothing. So I think if they score, one of those field goals or go for it, on a 4th down and end up scoring once or twice, I mean, you're either around tied or you're winning the game. At the end of the day, you're not going to stop the Chiefs. You're going to have to outscore them. And I think that the Bills played well, but the Chiefs were just a better team. And
I feel like
that, when it boils down, I think at the end of the day, like I said before, the Chiefs are a better team, and it clearly showed. I think the Bills played hard, but you could tell in that those last 2 quarters of the game, the Chiefs were just a better team. Couldn't keep up with Tyreek Hill,
100%.
couldn't keep up with Kelsey, couldn't keep up with Mahomes. So, the Bills, I think, did really well. If I'm a Bills fan, I'm happy. They finally won the first playoff game in for forever, 20 years or whatever it is. And that's a big milestone if you really boil it down. And, they won twice. Obviously, they lost in the AFC Championship game. So if I'm a Bills fan, I'm looking at it as it's the first year of a wide open window. We won 2 playoff games, lost in the AFC Championship. We put up 24 against the Chiefs, and we've only really scored 1 offensive touchdown that was real. Obviously 2, but
yeah.
So I'm pretty happy if I'm a
I'm excited if I'm for the future. I mean, like you said, the Bills played a good game, but it's not enough to beat the Chiefs. To beat the Chiefs, you need to have an extraordinary game. Yeah. Like you saw in the Super Bowl last year with San Francisco. They had a good game. It's just not enough.
No, it wasn't. And I think everybody knew that. And at the end of the day, I think the Bills knew that too. I think they said, hey, they might be a better team, but as you can tell from football and pretty much every sport in the world, sometimes the best team doesn't always win. And I think they were hoping for something like that. I mean, you got to give the Bills credit. They played really well. But at the end of the day, the better team prevailed, and they played better. So
I mean, 100%. If I'm the Bills, I'm just trying to not rebuild, but add in a couple key other pieces because as of where you stand, you have a great offense, good defense. You have Stephon Diggs comes next year, an MVP caliber quarterback in Josh Allen, who nobody saw having this kind of a year. And like I was saying, I was telling you guys this the other day. I love Stephon Diggs as a receiver and as a player. The man's an absolute dog. You saw him at the end of the game. You're standing out there watching them celebrate for the Super Bowl. He wants it more than anybody. He expected the Bills to go out there and win that game. I think he's going to be phenomenal going to next year. It was a great pickup, and I'm really excited to see them going to the next couple of years because they're the most electric team in the league, in my opinion, because they're just exciting to watch. They look like they have fun every possession.
I think they're like the most balanced team. Yeah, in my opinion, I think
they're the most
like as much as I do not like Buffalo whatsoever, but I have all the respect for Sean McDermott and that coaching staff. That defense, I really, really like. It's really underrated with obviously Tre'Davious White and Tremaine Edmonds. I'm a big fan of. Like they got good pieces on that team, and yeah, Josh Allen really, stepped up his game and
came out of nowhere.
Exactly. But for Buffalo, pretty much Kansas City can get away with improvising and kind of throwing shit on the, going off of their game plan. Whereas I saw this when they played against Miami. Miami, they went up ahead first, 10-0. And then what happened? Kansas City woke up. They're like, all right, we'll come back. Same thing here. So it's simple as that. Mahomes does his thing, Kelsey does his thing, Tyreek Hill does his thing. They all do their thing, and
Can't stop them.
Exactly. As much as their defense isn't like that great, it's all about coaching, and it's all about just those guys being at the right place at the right time. And they got into Josh Allen's head, and they got to him a couple of times, and it got to him where he threw a football at that guy's face.
I mean, it's just a scary. Go ahead, Kev.
No, I was just going to say so obviously the defensive coordinator for Kansas City, Steve Spagnuolo. Me and Peter are big Giants fans. We've seen him before. He blitzes the house, whenever it gets tough. And you saw that. And I think what's really helpful for Kansas City is their secondary. Because I think it's good enough to be able to last a couple of seconds for the pressure to get there.
Yeah.
Now you look at Buffalo in that game. I don't really think they were blitzing a whole lot because they were so scared of Mahomes.
Understandable.
Back to where it's due, of course. But at the same time, they just couldn't get there at all. So I think that was that killed the game.
Well, that's
they couldn't get pressure at all.
Well, that's the thing with Mahomes. It's like, do you try to get to him where he can move around and you'll find someone on like a man-to-man or whatever, or do you sit back playing like a zone or something, but he has all the time in the world and you'll find
Tyreek
Hill.
Game planning for this team. Yeah, I feel like when you're game planning for this team, it's really, you had to expect them to put up at least 25, 30 points and just hope, not even hope, you just have to try and put up as much points. So your only chance is another offensive power set to try and get past them, because they have a phenomenal mix of insane weapons, an insane quarterback, and phenomenal coaching. Especially with D'Enemy and Eric Reed, it's just ridiculous. And I'm really excited to see. How do you think?
And even Steve Spagnuolo too.
How do you think? I know I was about to get to that in a second. Do you think Spagnuolo's make a difference seeing Brady again in the Super Bowl? Because he's had a little bit of a history of slowing down Tom Brady in the Super Bowls.
I mean, I saw one in person in 2011. I think that, again, I think Tom Brady's the GOAT. I think that when push comes to shove, you can hit him as many times and it won't really affect him. But I think the manner of the offense of Kansas City will scare Tom Brady more.
Yeah.
In terms of when the Patriots played the Giants in Super Bowl 42, because I feel like that's a little bit of a better example.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants had a way better defense.
Yes.
Offense. Their offense really wasn't that great. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't.
It was serviceable.
It wasn't like Kansas City, obviously.
Oh, 100%.
But what my point is that I think that thought process for the Patriots and Tom Brady was, okay, we can afford to kind of give them the ball. They're not really going to do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
But now I feel like there's a lot more urgency because, there's going to be limited amount of drives. That Kansas City is going to come out just throwing bombs.
Okay.
So I think that the defense is going to have a really big role in that game.
If I'm Bruce Arians and Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, I'm trying to do those classic drives I've been doing all year, 8-9 minute drives, 5-yard passes, and just keep the ball out of the Chiefs' hands for as long as possible. Put up those just painful drives, wear out the defense, and keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline and keep him cold. Where he has to come off the field after sitting on the bench for 10 minutes and having to make throws instead of just being right back out on the field.
And plus, what did we kind of see with the 2016 Giants is that exact thing. Defense got real tired, had a good defense, but just got really tired. Their offense had a lot of weapons, but again, couldn't really run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a little bit different, but what my point is that when you have those long methodical drives, even if you just get the 3 points,
physically and mentally
tired. And you do that 3-4 times a game. I mean, think about it. In the 6 to 8 minute range of drives, that adds up after a while. And so I think that if you convert those drives into touchdowns, it'll really kill you. Mm-hmm. And I think the Chiefs are such an outlier of football right now. You just can't, like, it's not like the spread offense where you can see that and then copy it and paste it.
Yep.
You can't do what the Chiefs are doing.
Yeah.
There's one Patrick Mahomes, there's one Travis Kelce, and there's one Tyreek Hill. You don't see that.
Yeah.
No one else has the best tight end, the best wide receiver, the best quarterback on the same
the best coaching.
The best coach.
So it's, it's a perfect storm, and that's not an excuse. But, I think that
You're going to have to be
everything's
perfect.
going right for them.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to wear them down. And I mean, let's be real. We all saw what happened last year with the Texans and Chiefs. You cannot, if you have a lead, let up on that team, or they will kill you.
Well, that being said, that was Bill O'Brien.
Well, that's a whole other discussion
Debacle.
if we want to have that. But I completely agree. However, if your foot's on their neck, you got to squish down harder and crack it. Basically, you have to finish against the Chiefs, or if you give them a little bit of hope, they're going to take it. So